Hello, this is Bayreen, and you are watching 5 minutes in basic paladin tanking. Now, I am obviously not on my death knight, I am on my paladin. His name is Lard, he's level 85, and I'm going to talk about some of the spells you're going to be using when you're paladin tanking. First spell you need to think about, definitely, is your Righteous Fury. This is going to give you your threat regen and make sure you're not dropping threat. And because of that spell, it makes paladins one of the best class for holding on to threat when tanking. After that, you're going to need to think of your auras. Now, there's several different options you can use. I personally like using Devotion Aura because it gives me that armor buff. But I've also heard of people using Resistance Aura because it helps with certain spells. When blocking certain spells. Though I personally find Devotion Aura better, except when I'm in a raid and there's another paladin who's already using it. Then your next spell is going to be your seal. There's two seals you can use. The first one, this is the one I use, is Seal of Truth. This gives you the chance to deal 775 additional holy damage over 15 seconds, and this stacks 5 times. The other one is actually in the holy section, and it is called Seal of Insight. Now this, whenever you deal damage, single target melee attack, you have a chance to heal yourself, and you also have a chance to restore your mana. Now this can be useful. I personally prefer this because I find it more helpful. Though there's a lot of people who've been going into this because of some of the nerfs made to healers. Next, we're going to talk about the attacks. Your first one is Crusader Strike, which all paladins have, and you should be using for single targets. This is going to be your basic spell. This is a high damage. Remember, the more damage you deal, the more threat you generate. If you have multiple targets, though, you're going to want to be using Hammer of the Righteous. This hits multiple targets within 8 yards. Very good for a whole group. Now, for an opener, you have a couple of options. For multi-target use, you have Avenger's Shield, which hits 3 targets, though it can be glyphed, so that way it only hits 1 target but deals more damage. Then you have Hand of Reckoning, which is basically taunt. It is a taunt, and because of that now, it's only become useful when someone's pulled off you and you're getting it back. But if you're starting one and you just want to start on a single target, you want to use Judgment. Judgment is going to deal that damage. You'll get enough threat. Wait like about 2 seconds before the rest of your DPS pulls, and then get in there. When you're dealing with multiple targets, you're also going to want to throw down Consecration, and you're going to want to spec so that way you lower the mana cost for this. This is a very effective spell. Now for a couple of extra spells you're going to want to keep in mind. First of all is Argent Defender. It is not passive. You have to activate it. It will reduce damage by 20%. When it is active, if there's a spell that would kill you or attack that would kill you, it will prevent that and instead heal you for 15% of your maximum health. Next is Guardian of the Ancient Kings, which when you're in a tank and you're in tanking spec, this is going to reduce all incoming damage by 50%. Then you have Divine Guardian. Divine Guardian reduces damage to everyone in your party except you by 20%. There's also another spell that acts sort of like that. It is Divine Protection. The only difference is that it affects you and no one else in your party. Then you have your Divine Shield. Very good. It protects you from all damage, period. But it reduces your damage by 50%. Now, it is said that you also completely drop aggro when you use it. I have never had a problem with it, so I can't vouch for that or not. Next is your Hand of Protection. This is another one of those protection spells from damage. Note, though, that it only protects you against physical damage. Mages will not be affected by this at all. It will still go through. Remember, you cannot attack or use physical abilities as well. You can use exorcism, for example, but nothing else. You have righteous defense, which is good because it is able to take aggro from one target and bring it onto you. There's also another one which I personally don't use, but I've heard it's useful, and that is not in this section. It is Hand of Salvation. This reduces threat by 2% for 10 seconds. Next is Lay on Hands. Very important to have this in case you have to quickly heal yourself. If you're not able to do that, you'll die. Remember that this shares a cooldown with Divine Shield and Hand Protection. They all have Forbearance, which means that the target that has Forbearance on it cannot be affected by one of those three again. You also have Hand of Freedom, which gets rid of all movement impairing effects. Really better for PvP. I haven't seen much, but I haven't seen much that stops it. Then you have Rebuke, Interrupts, and then you have these are really the last two spells you really definitely need to have, is Blessing of Might and Blessing of Kings. Now the order is that you throw Blessing of Might unless there's another paladin. Then one throws Might and one throws Kings. That is it. Please rate, comment, subscribe. Give me feedback so that I can improve these videos. And I will see you guys later.